out, brother.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. After 3 full days of watching the draft, I'm starting to wonder at what point do NFL GMs just write down made-up names on the draft card and see what happens, Perna? Well, everyone on our big board is gone. Let's just make up a name. Camaron Cheesman. That'll be funny. Oh shit, he's a real player? A long snapper? Cheesman, damn it. Shout out to Barstool Big Cat for posting the most incredible piece of draft insight I have ever witnessed on live television.
Born with extra fingers and an extra toe. His left foot still has 6 toes on it. I bring this up, it hasn't hampered him at all, but when he was at Kansas, he shared the backfield with Puka Williams, who had a lawnmower accident early in his life and didn't have any toes on his right foot.
I always wondered why Khalil Herbert transferred. Now it makes sense. You don't want to be the guy with an extra toe showering next to the guy with no toes. And how the hell does Puka Williams play without any toes? No wonder he wasn't on Rex Ryan's big board. Because Ryan loves feet. Today I will reveal some of the teams I think had really good drafts and which teams not named the Texans may have made some mistakes, but most importantly, I'm going to bring you the irrelevant draft nuggets that you missed from the weekend. That's good sports. Hey, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you don't, you might not live long. Today's episode is sponsored by buyraycon.com/thatsgood, which will save you 15% when you use my link below. When you treat your ears to the delight that is Raycon, you are supporting this channel. You know that, but you might not know that Raycon was co-founded by Ray J and other notables like J.R. Smith and Mike Tyson. Tyson makes sense because I'm pretty sure if I took a Tyson punch to the face, my Raycons would stay in place. That's how comfortably secure they fit into the side of your head. Plus, you get 45 days to test them and decide if they're right for you. Raycon's wireless earbuds give you 6 hours of playtime and the freedom to get away from screens or just tune out the noise of your life with their noise isolating fit. I use them to video edit, to work out, and to fall asleep with during a podcast. So go to buyraycon.com/thatsgood to get 15% off your Raycon order today. Now, every team in the draft gets a grade of a B. In theory, every team should have gotten better. And even though a few teams may have gotten much better, nobody actually knows right now. There's too many X factors. If you give a team a grade of an A, you're an asshole. If you give any team a grade less than a B, you're a bad word that starts with a C. Now, as a father, this was my favorite moment of the entire draft. Seeing Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, working with his baby sleeping in a Bjorn. As a football fan though, this is the photo I'd show if he whiffed on even one pick in the 2021 draft. Hey, cheap ass, hire a fucking babysitter for NFL draft weekend. Jesus Christ, you have an entire year to work out the logistics for that, and a $3.3 million per year salary, and unlike previous years, the Browns, what they do in the draft actually matters now. That said, Cleveland received a draft grade of an A+ by dozens of draft grading experts. Northwestern corner Greg Newsome at pick 26, very solid, but what got the NFL draft world excited was Cleveland taking linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in the second. For some reason, he fell all the way to 52, but was a top 20 prospect on several big boards heading into the draft. So Cleveland adds a first-round talent to their secondary and a first-round talent late in the second to their front seven, also an area of need. Then the Buffalo Billies, they got a real one in Spencer Brown. Bills! I don't think there's any better way to ingratiate yourself with Bills Mafia than to turn a folding table into rubble. Dan Mitchell, probably has to find a new pair of pants every time he watches this clip. Now, the Bills grabbed Spencer Brown in the 3rd round to protect Josh Allen. Although Josh Allen may need to protect Spencer Brown from himself. Buffalo's first 2 picks were edge rushers, which I know confused Bills fans a bit. The Denver Broncos did the same thing last year by taking wide receivers Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler in the 1st and 2nd round. And the only reason that didn't work out immediately was because Denver started 4 different quarterbacks last season. I like the Gregory Rousseau pick at 30 for the Bills, and I like doubling down on the edge, as I said that was the Bills' biggest need heading into the draft. 2 edge players, they got 2 tackles later. Protect your QB and assault your opponent's quarterbacks. Good job, Bills. And credit the Bills for going on a chase and getting themselves wild goose. Yeah, a wild goose chase. Yeah. Eagles. What was going on in your war room during the draft? This happened after they selected defensive tackle Milton Williams. Senior scout Tom Donahue looks pissed. I'm not sure what he's upset about, as the consensus is that Philly had a pretty good draft. Everyone loved their trade up for Devontae Smith, except Mike Golick, who for some reason wished they drafted Devontae Davis.
After a fantastic move in the 1st round to move up to get Devontae Davis.
Round 2, they get lineman Landon Dickerson and another great defensive tackle late in the draft in Marlon Tuipulotu. The displeasure, though, showed here is why the Eagles' fall from grace has been so ugly. Dysfunction behind the scenes with ownership, scouting, coaching, and quarterbacks not all being on the same page ever. Now, even though Philly might have had a great draft, I don't know if it matters. The Dolphins had an exceptional 1st round of the draft. We know about Jalen Waddle going 6th overall, but Jaelen Phillips at 18 was a great pick that should immediately help their pass rush. Anytime you snag a guy with hair like this, it's a win. Also, we now know that the Denver Broncos were putting a trade package together to move up to get Phillips had he fallen into the 20s. Hell, even the Patriots might have had one of the better value drafts. Mac Jones at 15 made too much sense. They get Christian Barmore in the 2nd to add to their defensive line. And a linebacker the draft nerds are very excited about in Cameron McGrone in the 5th. Opposite of that, the Packers. They drafted receiver Amari Rodgers. Rodgers definitely being on the roster was everyone's favorite joke. So much so that they missed his player comp being Randall Cobb, the Packers' old receiver. I haven't looked too hard, but I'm going out on a limb to say none of the receivers drafted so far have been compared to Jordy Nelson. Nobody knows if Aaron Rodgers will actually leave the Packers, but as a true bench warmer, I'm rooting for Jordan Love to get the job. And if he does, I will send him one of my Benchwarmer Brew shirts, which you can pre-order now, benchwarmerbrew.com, along with my coffee, which is really damn good coffee. These are pre-order. You got a week to do the pre-order, then it's gonna take a couple weeks for us to make them. So if you get the shirts, if you want these sweet gems, expect it to take about a month. FYI, but they're so nice. Now the Steelers got DMC from Run DMC to announce their 3rd round pick.
My name's DMC. I'm the king of the rock. And on the football field, we won't be stopped. The king of the rock, and there is none realer. And there is nothing better than being a Pittsburgh Steeler.
It's tricky to run the rock without an offensive line, but Kendrick Green should help Najee Harris walk this way. Run this way, through some big holes up front. Why did Pittsburgh only have DMC from Run DMC announce the pick, though? Because everyone knows the Steelers are anti-run. Pro Football Focus gave the Bears an A+ for their draft. Again, it is a B. Obviously, we will all be watching Justin Fields closely. My fear, though, is that the Bears push him away by trying to love him too hard, too early. This is Chicago's Instagram right now. It hasn't even been a week, Chicago. You look like psychopaths. Fields might be the first quarterback to file a restraining order against his team. That said, I do like what the Bears did. Love the Fields pick. Khalil Herbert with his extra toe might be an issue when he's toe tapping on the sideline, but I like that the Bears drafted a good run blocking tackle in the second with Tevin Jenkins, then got two of my best named players in Larry Borom, the world's most boring element on the periodic table, and Daz Newsome to catch some of those Fields passes. Razzle dazzle, baby. Myles Garrett literally is so muscular it looks like he's wearing a fake muscle suit. He looks like that time SpongeBob was trying to get ripped like Larry the Lobster. It's really a shame though that Myles Garrett isn't named Miles Jack. Miles Jacked. Now Jacoby Jones announced the Ravens pick of Ben Cleveland. In Cleveland. This is second only to when the Eagles took tight end Dallas Goedert in Dallas. At first though, I didn't realize this was Jacoby Jones. And by the way he walked onto the stage, I thought he was a giant Make-A-Wish kid fighting a losing battle with Parkinson's disease. Tennessee Titans receiver AJ Brown was seen crying here because his former Ole Miss teammate Elijah Moore was drafted higher than him. My favorite part of this video is his friend keeping the door closed to give AJ Brown privacy for a video that everyone is going to see. Also, how good was that 2018 wide receiving core at Ole Miss? AJ Brown, Elijah Moore, and DK Metcalf. If only their quarterback was someone a little better than Jordan Ta'amu. No disrespect though to an XFL legend, of course. Jets get Carter. Taking Michael Carter and Michael Carter. This is going to be like if the Denver Broncos never traded the first Brandon Marshall. Thankfully, one of the Carters plays running back and the other is a corner. Their new quarterback looks like a guy whose first name is Carter. Maybe they need to get Coach Carter. Dan Campbell stayed on brand during the draft, picking defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike. Barstool posted this Onwuzurike quote to show how fitting this new marriage would be. He said, "I like fucking people up. I like to get off the line and fuck up an offensive scheme. I like pushing them back 2-3 yards and just making them feel like shit." That quote is like if Ndamukong Suh was honest about his intentions. If there wasn't visual evidence to back this up, I'd say he was just a man after Dan Campbell's heart. And by after his heart, I mean in the same way Kano is after anyone's heart. To rip it out of their chest while it's still beating. Yeah, I treated myself to the new Mortal Kombat after a long draft weekend. Now the Lions were a team that I thought had a solid draft. Pro Football Focus gave them an A-. Penei Sewell at 7 was a steal. If you have a Penei S, you better get a pair of Levi's to contain that thing, which they did with Levi Onwuzurike. Third round, they grab another defensive tackle in Alim McNeill as Detroit builds their foundation in the trenches. Later in the third, they get an incredibly athletic corner in Ifitu Melinfonwu, and fourth rounder wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, followed by linebacker Derek Barnes after trading up, addressing two needs at the right time in the draft. After the draft, Dan Campbell said he made each draft prospect send him pictures of their teeth to ensure they could bite some motherfucking kneecaps. Bill Belichick brought his new dog to the draft after he had the last one put down for drafting place kicker Justin Rawasser in the 5th, a guy who didn't even make the roster. Bill's dog during the draft, though, was thinking, I don't give a fuck who you draft, just don't drown me in a bathtub like you did my brothers and sisters, please. On a serious note, I think this dog could probably draft wide receivers better than his owner. On another serious note, I like that a dog has made Bill Belichick smile more times than Tom Brady. The Washington football team drafted Michigan long snapper Camaron Cheesman, as I mentioned in the intro. You know what they say, it's not easy being cheesy, but as long as you play for the Washington football team, you'll always be the second cheesiest man in the building. The Carolina Panthers set a franchise record for the most draft day trades with 5, and they did it all so they had enough picks late to ensure they drafted a long snapper. A move so unbelievable, Thomas Fletcher himself didn't even believe they'd be dumb enough to use a draft pick on a long snapper.
Hey Fletch, what's up, bro?
What's up, brother?
You coming or what?
Trying to figure it out right now.
No. I just drafted you. You coming or what?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, bro.
No, you did not.
Yeah. Welcome to
Are
Carolina.
you serious?
Yeah, man. Welcome to Carolina Panthers.
Dude, chill out, brother.
I am rooting for Fletcher to be the best to ever do it. And since nobody tracks long snapper stats, I'll just say he is the best to ever do it. Carolina also selected behemoth guard Deonte Brown, who became even more famous over the weekend for this Blastoise comparison. That's Pokemon. I didn't watch it. Finally, I think maybe the most interesting pick in the draft is Kellen Mond going to the Vikings. Kirk Cousins has 2 expensive seasons left with Minnesota, is definitely currently better than Mond, but I like this landing spot for Kellen. I was sort of hoping the Broncos would take him. Mond actually ran a pro-style offense at Texas, ass to mouth, and is the perfect sit for a year or two quarterback that might be pretty good in the NFL. His pro comparison? Probably Kirk Cousins. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here. Again, I'll be back with an AFC West draft roundup recap. And if that video does well, I'll try to get through every division. If it doesn't, then I'll just keep bringing you football news.